Hey, everybody, and welcome to another wonderful episode of We Live in Color. I'm your host, Deaunte Damper, and I'm so happy to have y'all here today. But before we begin with this episode, I need you to like, share, and subscribe to Converge Media, where you can learn more about Seattle news and brews, circling Seattle sports, back to Besa, and everything where Black media matters. I need you to go to whereweconverge.com, okay? Now, I have been thinking so much about what empowerment looks like. Like, are we pouring into each other the way that we need to? And what I've learned from that is sometimes we have to focus on who is not being prioritized to really do the real empowerment. And I have been working with this brother for the past year and have loved the work that he has done. Amari, how you doing, brother? We done made it.
Let me tell you, being in your presence is like catching a shooting star.
Oh,
You are one of the most beautiful, spirited, it's so divine that God aligned for us to be in community, in life, in family, in chosen family. I tell people all the time, chosen family is very important because some of us don't come from big, strong families, and some of us have to go through the trials and tribulations and abandonment alone. And when God sends you people that reminds you, I don't even have to think about what I don't have or what I've lost. It's a gain. That is the most greatest blessing, greatest gift. So I consider you one of my best chosen family. I'm so grateful to be here. I love you so much.
you must have me start crying.
Right.
You
Hey,
gotta
listen.
start the show. But you are a shooting star.
Thank you.
And I feel, my first time ever hearing you speak was at the Major documentary.
Yes.
And it was and really shout out to Major and Diamond who were on that panel talking.
Yes.
And really, I think that one of the things about it is you are just so inviting. And I think we share similarities, right? Like of being inviting to all, because there was a point in time where we didn't feel invited, right?
Yeah. We had to make our own door. See,
Right.
because I don't wait. I don't wait on anything. I wait on God.
Yeah.
And when one door closes, God builds me another one.
Oh, I know that's
in
right.
a whole new address, whole new house, whole new foreground. So we make a way.
Right.
You know.
And I wanted to talk to you about that. Like, so how did you start to make your way? Tell me a little bit about where you're from.
Well, first off, I am from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Yes, 502, home of Static Major, Muhammad Ali, all the greats, home of me. I come from a single parent household. My mother raised me and my brother. I'm the oldest. My father's not in my life. I don't come from a strong family unit. And when I was younger, right now I'm letting inner Amari, my inner child, come out, because what I teach in T with T, which I'll get into that, is always staying connected to your inner child, because that's where your spark is, that's where your story is, that's where your energy is. So I'm letting him come out because he was silenced. Mm-hmm. It was Big Amari who had to go back. Mm-hmm. See, sometimes to go forward, you have to go backwards.
And let me ask you, how were you silenced? Can you unpack that?
Yes. Well, I was bullied. Like I said, coming from a single parent household is very difficult. When it's just one parent. My mom worked, went to school, and she did everything, she needed to do, because my father and my brother's father were not there. Mm-hmm. So having to see her struggle, having to see her get up, take her 2 kids, go to school, get her business degree, all of that, I am a strong form of LaShonda. That's my mother's name. And even though I have my story, watching her, I learned what strength was, because I'm like, I'm 30 years old, just turned 30 years old. How did you do it with 2 kids before 30, Mm-hmm. And so having to be the second parent, having to be there emotionally for my mom, taking care of my brother, raising him, I neglected myself because I thought that everybody else was more important, because that's how I grew up. Got to make sure my mama's okay. Got to make sure my brother's okay. I carried the burden. I was the leader, and a child, is supposed to be a child. But I'm grateful for that because that's why I created Tea with T, because I was like, it starts when you're young. I felt like I was a burden, that I didn't matter, that I was invincible. I had no one to talk to, from going to school being bullied to having a parent that was tired all the time and working all the time and didn't have time to make that space. And then also realizing that as you get older, you realize that your parents have their own hurt inner child. So some things that my parent couldn't give to me wasn't given to her.
Yeah.
I come from that dysfunctional family of that generational curse that has ended with me.
No, I know that's right. And then when I think about Kentucky, and I know I grew up in Washington State, so it's very progressive state. Kentucky doesn't really have very much. Did you see any representation of?
Oh no! Oh my God! Oh my God! It took me right there to when I was even bullied in high school and middle school because I knew I was different. I knew I liked girls. I wore, boxers, and it came a point where I was just like, I thought I was a freak because, like you said, that's Kentucky. I tell people all the time, Washington, we see pride. I see pride flags, but in Kentucky, it was Confederate flags.
Oh.
We lived around the corner from a KKK charter house. Like it wasn't. That's Kentucky. That's the the South, the Midwest. So it was more of this too, being black. So you couldn't be, gay, trans. You couldn't be different. You had to, and if you were outcasted even by adults. Because some of my first bullies were adults. Some of the first people that made me feel small and low and worthless and nothing were adults. My teachers, counselors who told me, who didn't pour into me, who didn't believe in me. So coming from that space, see, roses, they can grow through concrete. And I was surrounded by concrete.
I know that's right.
And I grew out of that because I reached back and grabbed me because there was no one else around to do it.
Yeah.
So
and we're going to talk a little bit more about how you were able to grow from that concrete, talk about T for T and LRP. We're going to take our first break and we'll be back. You're watching We Live in Color.
Getting the scholarship really changed the conversation. It went from, I can do school in my free time and make it work to I can only focus on school and I can be the best I can be every single day. I can soak up everything. I can read before class and make sure I'm not just learning enough to pass the test. Like I could really pour all my time into school. That's what having a Seattle College Foundation scholarship did for me.
Africa Town Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africa Town Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africa Town Plaza is a love letter to the community.
Black caregivers, entrepreneurs, and elders, this one's for you. Queen Care is offering complimentary self-care services to those who give so much to their communities. Take a moment to restore, recharge, and be cared for with free wellness treatments at the Spa House by Queen Care. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Go to queencareproducts.com now to sign up or scan the QR code on your screen because you deserve the same care you give to others.
And welcome back to We Live in Color. I am here with the wonderful Amari.
Yes. Listen, Mr. Amari LaShawn Leach is in the building. Royalty everywhere I go because I got 1,000 divine black ancestors behind me. Just like being in front of this wall, this is where we come from.
Okay.
It was their sacrifice, their love, what they went through that we are here today.
I know,
so our ancestors are in this room right now, cheering us on, probably having a little barbecue in the corner.
I'm quite sure they're having a barbecue. So I wanted to talk to you about the roads. You said the roads that grew from concrete. And how were you able to pick yourself up and then move here? How did that happen?
Oh, God. After a bad breakup.
Okay.
After a bad breakup.
They'll do it to us.
Let me tell you, I was with my ex-fiance and it was a learning experience. I learned how to love myself more with her. It ended, but it was a great beginning because without that chapter in my life, I wouldn't have been able to keep going and seeing the whole book, writing the whole book because I have the pen. But I was in a dark place because she was the first person that made me feel safe. Not just as big Amari, but little Amari. Like, oh my God, someone, the nurturing, the understanding. And I was looking for bits and pieces of my parent, my grandmother, my great, all the things that I was missing, looking for it in a partner. And see, you can't really do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't really say, okay, I'm looking for you to fill a void of my grandmother. You can't do that.
No.
Nobody can fill that void. So I had to fill it myself with self-love. And I had to get close with God. God stripped everything from me, everything that I loved, didn't want to let go of. I was in a dark space. See, I am a suicide survivor. When I was struggling in high school, when I first came out, that I like women, and I knew I was a boy from like 9 years old, probably even before then. I knew who I was, being a Black trans man. Like I had that energy, I knew, my spirit knew. And I struggled in school, I struggled with, the teachers and calling my mom and telling them I'm flirting with girls and making my home life even more, chaotic. And so I shut down, and I ended up going into a mental hospital for a year. And it changed my life. I seen versions of myself, because suicide and self-harm, it wasn't talked about. You were made fun of because of it. You were outcasted. Oh, that's the devil. Religion, oh my God, especially in the Black community, we use that as a weapon. And it's like, oh my God, that comes from our opposers. Our opposers are teaching us how to hate ourselves through that tool. And I don't knock religion. I'm spiritual. I believe, everybody can believe and stand in whatever they want to. But I also believe it has harmed us so much, because it's like, oh, well, God only loves you under certain conditions. To me, unconditional love means just that, no conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, and thank you so much for sharing that, because I think that sometimes, and the power that I hear in your voice when we tap into our own vulnerability and own the dark spaces, right?
Yes.
Which can make people uncomfortable.
Oh, the truth makes you uncomfortable.
But at the same time, I think that we all have struggled with that.
Yes.
I myself went through a really dark space
Yeah.
of that, but it took me to move back home, and it took me, and I had even spurts even after that.
Yes.
But it took me to move back home to find who I am, and then start moving. So how did you start moving with T for T? Explain T for T.
Well, like I said, during my last relationship, I started to find myself. And I remember one night, I looked over, I said, oh my God, babe, I got this idea. And she grabbed a pencil and pen, and she said, and I just started talking, and I was like, I want to create something called T with T, where I create a safe space for our youth to be able to talk to their parents. Because like I mentioned earlier, my mom was always tired. She was always, working, going to school, taking care of 2 kids. So it wasn't always time for us to always talk when I was younger. So I wanted to create a space where I'm not just a youth advocate, I'm a parent advocate, where I'm helping our youth navigate through their traumas, self-healing, because we got a lot of broken adults walking around. I still have my moments as well. That's why I preach inner child work, because it's never ending. You never stop healing. You never stop growing. So I wanted to bridge the gap between youth and parents. So I was like, what brings people together for conversations? Tea, drinks, lunch, food. Like let's go out. Let's go get a bite to eat, because we like to eat. Okay. So I'm like, what can I create where it would be like I was there holding that child's hand? If you coming out to your parents for the first time, this mug will signify that I'm right there, and you can hold on to it. And I'm going to give you the power to speak, because no one can tell you who you are, not even the person that birthed you. Because parents have to understand your children don't belong to you. You have to love them unconditionally. Give them the love and the support. You having the restrictions of what you want them to be robs them of their individuality. My thing when I tell parents is, go back to the time when you wished that your parents would have listened to you. Go back to your inner child. Instead of passing on the generational curse, empty that mug out with that dirty water. empty it out and clean it out, put it through the rinse, put it through the dishwasher, bring it out clean, refill your cup, and then pour it to your child.
Yeah. And that is so important. You know, it is so important to refill cups. And what I mean by that is we, as community folks, we need that pour into. We need that empowerment.
Yes.
And when I think about what empowerment looks like for me through navigating stuff, even through beyond the second suicide attempt, was the Brothers of Bill 206. And, you know, and that's a local organization out here that is about empowering Black men. We're not talking about the grants say, we are talking about what that empowerment looks like. And we be outside.
Yes, y'all do. I follow y'all on Instagram. I'm like, because anything you're a part of, I know it's real, I know it's genuine, and I know it's community.
Yeah.
I know it's built off of Black love, Black unity, and it's a safe space.
It's a safe space.
It's a safe space.
It's a safe space.
That is what Tea with T is.
Yeah.
A safe space. I wanted to create a safe space because it's up to us to save us. Even with the times going on now, community is the solution, it's the answer. And we need to get that in the universe. Her feminine energy sparking now is showing us who we really need and who really has the power.
Right, and that's exactly why we partnered with Trish Gallo in last year in July to put together our Beat Walk. We do it annually, and we have an amazing clip for that. Let's check that out.
What's up, y'all? This is Dre with Bill 206. We're here at the block party, the Bill 206 block party, in partnership with the Columbia City Beat Walk. Yeah, so Black vendors, we got Black performers out here. Beat Walk, we're bringing Black people back into the south end of Seattle. Arts, culture. Happy to partner with the Columbia City Beat Walk again for our 4th annual Build the Block party. It's important to me because I grew up in the south end of Seattle, so it's very important to make sure that I'm bringing my community back together, making sure that we're able to support local businesses as well as small businesses, which is in the vendors and the artists.
I've been in the community for 12 years, and so I wanted to bring back the Black community that was pushed out because of gentrification. So I intentionally booked DJs and bands, artists, even some of the vendors, to bring our community back to this neighborhood.
Man, I see what you see. People enjoying themselves, having a good time. Community outside, you know, families, we got kids, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers, we got folks outside.
So I just want to make sure during Beat Walk, people come up and show out my community, LGBTQ community, BIPOC community. I just want us to come out and have a good time and have a safe space to have a great time all day. It's a block party. There's other music in different venues throughout the neighborhood that I book, and that's what Beat Walk's about, having a good time.
They're very important because we get to celebrate the arts, we get to bring community together, have some fun, and Black joy. Black joy is always very important.
To me, it's good music and good food, and that's all I need. And actually, good music and good food has no barriers. It don't have no racism, no nothing. You got good music, you got good food, we can all come together. And that's what's happening today.
Make sure you tap in with what Bill 206 has going on, a number of our partners, to make sure that you come tap in, make sure Black-led organization. We need additional resources to make these things happen. We're also got our incubator program, our Build Black Wealth Initiative going on, where we're injecting funds into Black-led businesses. So we just selected 16 Black-led business and organizations, so that we'll be announcing those shortly. So really, we're just making sure that we're tapping in. If you guys want to hit us up on all of our social media, it's Bill 206. You can hit us up on our website, bill206.com.
Black joy is everything. Black joy is the essence of humanity. The first and the everything. That's what Black joy is. Because without Black joy, there is no joy.
I love my Bill brothers. Love them.
Yes.
They're so great. And I love just being around folks and just being empowered. Did you see the empowerment of that?
Yes. Oh my God. Like just Black power, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. and if you want to get involved with Black male empowerment and the work that Bill 206 is doing, from our Build Black Wealth Initiative to OLS, go to build206.com. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, our favorite color is lavender, okay? We're going to talk a little bit about Lavender Rights Project. You are watching We Live in Color.
Working with Denterman has been totally different than working with a traditional bank.
They're real, and they meet you right where you stand.
I was recently funded, and that money has just changed the trajectory of what we're able to do and our output. This has been just more than just funding or a one-on-one connect. It's been an opportunity for us to really grow and connect and build roots within the community.
As a small business owner, you need to put your faith into the right people, and they seem like good people to put their faith into.
Here on Back to Vesa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region, and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Vesa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Come celebrate Juneteenth, a road to economic freedom with us in Tacoma, Washington at Stewart Heights Park on June 19th. It's one big happy family reunion that you don't want to miss. Join us as we bring singing powerhouse Crystal Aiken and the legendary gospel superstar himself, Fred Hammond. But that's not all. We're bringing back the old school with everyone's favorite Soul for Real. And there's so much more. June 19th in Tacoma. For more information, visit juneteenthwa.com.
And we're back where we live in color. I'm with the wonderful Amari Leach. And I wanted to talk to you because I know your favorite color. And my favorite color is lavender.
It's lavender.
Lavender
It's
Rights
lavender.
Project.
I got purple socks. I got purple shoes. As soon as I came in contact with Lavender Rights Project, I was like, man, I love purple. And it's actually my mom's favorite color, so she loves The Office.
I'm quite sure she does. So how did you get started with Lavender Rights?
So when I moved here, when I drove here with me, my mom, my godmom. And I, was looking for community, and I just remember they popped up on my Instagram, and I gave them a follow, and I needed help with resources because, of course, I'm not from here, from the 502, Louisville, Kentucky, but I love Seattle. And so I reached out to them, and just the most beautiful people, welcoming. What do you need? We got you. I met with Ebo first. I met with Nikki. And whatever I needed, they got me together and gave me more than what I needed most of the time. And so there was an opportunity that came, through community and, them helping me, first as a client to where we started an advocacy team. And they were like, would you like to be a part of it? And I was like, yeah. So I scheduled my interview with Myra Gaines. And I was like, okay, God, you talking. Because I was struggling when I first moved here, because I don't believe in working the 9 to 5 for this monopoly money and working our lives away. That's not God's purpose for me or us.
Right.
And I'm not with it. I worked in fast food for over 12 years. I was a teenage worker. You know what I'm saying? Calluses on my feet this big, helping with bills. I missed out on a lot of that. So when I came into Lavender Rights Project, I felt like I could have fun. I could be a teenager, I could be a kid and also help and stand for my community as a Black trans man. You know what I'm saying? Black trans mass, stealth, I always salute my brothers, you know what I'm saying, who stand for.
Can you define stealth?
Stealth, it's different for everybody. I can only really speak for me. I definitely don't always try to speak for other people, but for me, it's honoring that I finally made it within myself to where I feel like I can just be me. I've always had to explain who I was and why I am. Even being from Kentucky, I was the president of Gay Straight Alliance in high school. You should have seen the ugly looks the parents gave me in the comments and all of that. So I was just like, I never got a chance to just be where I didn't have to explain why I am the way I am or why I'm a trans man. All of that, I could just be a man because that's who I am, while still honoring the trans part.
Yeah.
You know, I'm obviously in community. I work for Lavender Rights Project coordinator, you know, lead advocacy team. So I'm doing the work. I make sure that I honor my ancestors. I make sure I protect and love my community, but I also do it for Amari because I deserve it and I earned it. You know, from the stripes.
Absolutely.
You know?
And, you know, all the dynamic work that you've done in doing now, you always honor Sankofa. You look back to go forward. So this is the part of the show where we do the We Live in Color tribute. Who is the person that you would like to tribute today?
Oh, God. So many people are running through my head, but what's coming up is Amari.
Yeah.
Amari and
Yourself.
little Amari.
Okay.
Myself,
I know that's right.
And also the Black women that I come from. You know, my mother, my stand-in aunts, my stand-in grandmother, you know, my daycare community, my Boys and Girls Club community, my mentors, all those chosen angels I was telling you about that pushed me along. You know, Donna Murphy, you know, all those people who poured into me when I didn't see it myself. When they looked at me and said, Amari, oh my God. And I just looked at me and said, man. And then they poured into me and I'm pouring into my own cup. And now I'm looking at Amari and I'm like, yeah, you did that.
Right.
Because, you know,
you helped yourself live in color.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Live in color and painted my own stripes.
Yeah.
I turned those wounds into my colors. And that's why I say I am very proud of myself. I am honored to be Amari, Mr. Amari LaShawn Leach. I say my full name because I'm proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just would like to tribute my ancestors, you, my community, everybody. I can't break it down to just one.
You said it's all
of us. It's
you
all
said
of
it's
us.
all of us.
It's all of us.
And now we have this part, right? Because I mean, you just gave us a word. You just gave us a holy word. But I do want you to give us a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just look in that camera and give community a call to action.
Listen. Call to action to love yourself. Call to action to make sure that you are loving yourself and that ripples out to everyone you touch in the world and in this community. We need each other. We need community. We need to be on each other's side. We need to fight with each other instead of against each other. We need to love ourselves and love everyone. Please, y'all, it is time to get it together. Mm-hmm. So call to action to love because love conquers all.
Mm-hmm. And wait a minute, that's something I want you to do a little bit more. What's that cute cup over there?
Oh, yes.
So go ahead.
Yeah, Well, tea with tea. Now.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yes, these are my official Tea with Tea mugs. Like I said, I am the CEO and founder of Tea with Tea LLC, and I am the host of the podcast Tea with Tea Talks with Mr. Amari Leach on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, on all platforms. If you would like your mug, my shop is on all my links and all my bios. Like I said, I created this space to help our children navigate through their feelings, help decolonize our parenting, and so we can have a future, a liberated future, so our children can be free, and so we can be free because we deserve it. Pour into yourself and pour from a tea with teacup.
Okay, now that's a commercial.
They need to get me on.
Right. Had to make sure we did the plug. But I want to thank you so much for coming in today.
I love you so much.
I love you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate
we
you.
pour into each other when we see each other, and we're
All
going to
the
pour a little bit
time,
more.
A little bit more. Because this ain't the last time. This is only the beginning.
Only the
Because
beginning.
I'm going to be back.
Okay, I know
I'm
that's
coming
right.
back.
I know that's right. And I want to also just be able to thank you, community. You know, I also want to be able to take the time out to thank someone who is dear on my heart, who I have called in the late night about community events, who's just been a great ally for me and friend. And I'll call him my work husband. Ebo Barton, I love you.
Yes.
This episode is dedicated to you because we have two people here who've excelled by your empowerment.
Yes.
And we go to community events together all the time. And even just those small laughs about things going on in the community or the people in the room. I've always felt empowered from you. I'm always filled with love. And I hope that wherever you are, you feel that same love.
Yes, that's my boat.
Hey, that's your boat? Okay. Well, in the meantime, we're going to get out of here. But we want y'all to have an amazing week. Remember to walk with love. Have a great day.